Hurricane Melissa, Category 5. October 28, 2025, it hit Jamaica really hard. People's livelihoods were impacted, the tourist infrastructure crumbled, resorts got hit, and some of them nearly annihilated. And a lot of people thought that Jamaica would stay down. But those who don't know Jamaica and don't know Jamaicans, they underestimated one thing. Jamaicans are perhaps one of the most resilient people on the planet. Well, hello there. My name is Addison. I have the absolute pleasure to lead a great team at Reliant Destinations. We are one of the world's top digital servicing experts for everything sandals and beaches. And most importantly, besides myself, our whole team are Jamaicans on the ground in the Caribbean, giving you real-time, authentic insights for everything when it comes to planning your perfect trip to tropical paradise. So yes, it does mean that whenever that hurricane hit, it really struck home for me because not only was our office impacted, our staff were impacted, our whole operation was impacted, but also at the same time, we had hundreds and hundreds of guests that we needed to make sure that everything was okay with. And we did that with pleasure because for us, nothing brings us more joy than to help each and every one of you come experience the Caribbean, experience these islands, and to truly see what it is like to just immerse yourself in these cultures and to really truly enjoy the beautiful destinations that surround with all these wonderful islands across the Caribbean. While I have been to every single Sandals and Beaches property many times, some of them I have spent a lot more time at others. And we have to say that right now there are 3 resorts that you might know are not quite open yet, and 2 of those resorts that were heavily impacted from Hurricane Melissa are resorts which were literally across the road from our Reliant Destinations office in Montego Bay, Jamaica. So we'll get into that and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Yes, you are here on this video on the Mr TraveLux YouTube channel where we're going to be talking about what is being reimagined when it comes to the most severely impacted Sandals resorts, the 3 resorts. So let's go ahead and dive straight in. All right, so first, which are the 3 properties which are still closed because of Hurricane Melissa? Yes, it is true that a lot of the resorts, or I should say really all of the resorts in Jamaica had some level of damage, but we were very fortunate that some of the resorts were less impacted than others. In particular, the Ocho Rios area of Jamaica, it got hit the least, and so resorts like Sandals 𝗭𝗄𝗄, Sandals Royal Plantation, Sandals Dunn's River, these resorts were operational nearly immediately after the hurricane passed. However, 3 other resorts, 2 in Montego Bay, Sandals Montego Bay and Sandals Royal Caribbean, the ones that are just across the road from the Reliant Destinations office, and also Sandals South Coast and White House, Jamaica. These 3 resorts got hit very hard and were nearly decimated completely at some parts of the property. So first of all, let's talk about when these are going to reopen. It is true that they were recently postponed, and many of you who are watching this video will be here because you want to know more about that, what happened. So as part of this, the original idea was to get these resorts back and open as quickly as possible. However, all 3 of these properties were already undergoing some serious renovations in different parts of the properties to bring them up, not just the Sandals 2.0 new standard, but to really bring new innovations in that were going to delight clients going just all of the years forward. And so the hard decision, but a good decision, was made to step back and to put $200 million into the redevelopment of these 3 properties to not just bring them up to standard, but truly surpass the standard and bring in the new era of Sandals. So while this postponement, it did cause a lot of issues for many of you, and we truly appreciate that. And I also appreciate that from a personal standpoint because I lost an incredible amount of money within Reliant Destinations when this happened as well. But we view this as a short-term sacrifice for the ability to offer the quality experience that is going to be like none other in the future. So they will be opening this year in 2026, and for that we are very grateful and excited. The first one that will be opening is going to be Sandals South Coast. The Sandals South Coast will be opening on the 18th of November. Yes, this year in 2026. This is the largest of those 3 Sandals by far, and we're very excited for that because this one can host an incredible amount of guests within it and offers a very sprawling experience. We'll get into the details on that in a moment, but to answer the date questions for the other 2 resorts, both Sandals Montego Bay and Sandals Royal Caribbean, those will reopen on the 18th of December 2026. So this will reopen just in time for all of you that have booked those Christmas stays and of course those tropical vacations to bring in the new year 2027. Speaking of reopening, at Reliant Destinations, even though we were severely impacted by the storm, we never closed, and our goal was to always remain committed to you from the very first moment that you engage with us until you return home from the resorts. And so while we had to help hundreds of you to figure out what to do in those critical moments whenever the storm came in, we never closed and we kept going even if our office condition itself was impacted. The reason for this is very simple. We desire nothing more than to do 3 things for all of our clients. And the first one is to give them the very best expertise available. That starts, for example, even like content like this here on the channel, ranging to our numerous number of unparalleled resources and tools that we offer for our clients. Also the best service. We have the fastest response time in a recent study when it comes to digital communication. So we offer a great way to partner with you whichever way you wish to communicate. We service the bulk of clients through email, but are also available through numerous other platforms to help you and make sure you have everything at your fingertips when you need it. And of course, most importantly, the last of those 3 things, the best value. So that means that not only are you not going to find a better price out there, but also the value in terms of the overall experience and things we can add to your vacation in terms of helping you prepare and maximize every moment of your stay. Well, that we want to make sure is at the forefront of everything we do. So those 3 reasons are the reasons that no matter what happens in the world, we always will charge forward and give our clients the best experience possible. So as we go ahead and start talking about Sandals Montego Bay as the first of these 3 properties, I'll leave you with one thing. Don't be afraid to reach out for any assistance we can help with. That's hello@reliantdestinations.com. Again, hello@reliantdestinations.com. We always say if you aren't reaching out, you might be missing out, so make sure to do that. And also have a peek on our website. We have so many tools ranging from 𝗏𝗲, the world's very first 24/7 AI that is literally my brain downloaded into a round-the-clock tool for you, ranging of course to also our resort personality quiz, which allows you to answer a few questions, see which of the properties is best suited for you, and even also a value checker that we're putting out there right now for any of those people that already booked and want to make sure they have the best value. So definitely have a look at those tools, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about Sandals Montego Bay now when it comes to the first of these 3 properties in terms of the reopening and what is new. So first I want to mention Bhucan. Yes, Bhucan is an amazing dining experience, which was first tested with the opening of the newest Sandals resort, which is Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So Bhucan is very different to any other dining establishment across Sandals and beaches. It's where you sit down in a true communal family style, and you can watch from an open kitchen and sample all of the different spices and flavors as local delicacies are brought to your table, and you sit with other couples in the resort and you share those together and you enjoy that experience. So it's a communal dining experience with a true Caribbean authentic flair to it, and you definitely don't want to miss that experience if you're ever at a property that has that. So again, Bhucan is finally coming. We've seen it not only trialed there in St. Vincent, but now we've seen it brought to Sandals Regency La Toc. And I'm so happy to say that it's also coming now to Sandals Montego Bay. Sandals Montego Bay will also be unveiling a brand new concept called Parasol Beach Club. And so this Parasol Beach Club will be able to offer you wonderful drink and bites right there along the beach, allowing you to have a great, very informal experience, but get all of your grub and enjoyment on there without having to venture far into the resort. And of course, without having to give away those amazing tropical views, which most of you come to see. Another one of the food and beverage items coming that I am very excited about is Bloom. So Bloom was first tried at the Sandals Dunn's River. So Sandals Dunn's River, it brought in Bloom, which is a Blue Mountain Jamaican coffee experience where you see coffee done in a very, very unique way. And so you do see cold brew coffees, you see some traditional things that you would see at a coffee shop in North America, but also some menu items which are very local. And of course, for those of you that are in Jamaica and don't want to miss out, of course, on some Jamaican rum, let's just say a few Jamaican rum varieties as well, very appropriate and fitting. So we have now seen Bloom brought to multiple new destinations, and it will be coming also to Sandals Montego Bay as part of this new renovation. So very excited about that. For all of you coffee lovers, all I have to say is rejoice, great things are coming. Another concept coming to Sandals Montego Bay is called Heart and Soul. And so this is something we saw first over in Barbados. And so of course, Barbados, there's the two Sandals, the Sandals of Barbados, the Sandals Royal Barbados. So we saw Heart and Soul serving both of those properties there, which brought things to a more healthier vibe. So sandwiches, salads, and really just bringing the healthier, lighter fare for those who want to have an enjoyable lunch, but don't want to walk away feeling food guilt during their vacation. Or if you're like me, I like to save most of my calories for dinner. I like to take a lighter lunch. And so something like Heart and Soul is perfect for that. And so yes, excited to say that is also coming to Sandals Montego Bay. Another concept coming, which is a newer concept, part of Sandals 2.0, we've seen at some other properties, is going to be Scrimshaw. Scrimshaw is an experience that is focused upon seafood. And so for the seafood lovers, this will be the place where you definitely want to make sure you get to try during your vacation. Yes, so Scrimshaw is not just seafood, but it is fresh seafood. So Sandals has partnership with local fishermen there on the island. And so when you have seafood, you just know that it is not something where you're having seafood in mainland USA and it's been frozen and sat in the freezer for months. No, this is as fresh as it gets. And so if you are a seafood lover, Scrimshaw is where you'll want to be with this new reopening at Sandals Montego Bay. For all of you lovers of the Italiano cuisine, well, you're also going to be very, very happy because that is coming in the form of a restaurant called Tesoro, and that's coming also to this property. In terms of what is staying, there are things that are staying, so don't worry. Butch's Chop House, which has been my favorite restaurant at Sandals Montego Bay for years and years. That's always where I would eat after a long day in the office. I would go across the road and I would make sure to get some Butch's. So Butch's is staying, and so don't worry if you are a steak and seafood lover, you will still have that there at Butch's or at Sandals Montego Bay in the form of Butch's. Also soy, so if you're a sushi lover, also don't worry, that's not going away either. So your steak, seafood, sushi, all of that will be remaining. And I think it probably goes without saying, but just in case anyways, yes, Jerk Shack, the absolute staple beachside Jamaican grub experience, that definitely will be remaining at the resort. So never fear, that is too much of a precious commodity to the Caribbean experience to let go. Outside of food and beverage, there's also a wide number of completely reimagined suites that are going to be happening. So every single room in the resort will not just be getting a touch-up, but a complete overhaul, but also some new room categories are coming as well, including some that aren't yet announced. So I'm going to hold on to that. But again, if you would like to discuss any of that, again, that's hello@reliantdestinations.com. My team and I, we can guide you through all of that. And of course, provide you pricing on everything and make sure you have the best value guaranteed. But particularly within the beachfront concept, you'll see some new beachfront suites there for Sandals Montego Bay. And so for beach view, beachfront lovers, you'll be definitely in paradise with this new accommodation selection. Oh, and we would definitely be amiss not to talk about the pool. Yes, the new Sandals 2.0 pool is coming to Sandals Montego Bay, and this will be an infinity pool, really taking things to a whole new level, giving a very, very unique experience. And we've already seen infinity pools tested at a few of the newer Sandals, and let's just say those have been absolutely hot concepts. And so this resort will definitely be getting one of those. So between infinity edges and swim up suites and other special pool zones, just know that for the aqua lovers, you'll definitely be happy with what's coming here. It's going to be more than just a slight overhaul. It is a complete new experience when it comes to pool. Even the arrival experience at Sandals Montego Bay is going to be changing. It is giving it a much more immersive aspect of it, and you'll be able to get immediate ocean and beach views whenever you check in. And so that is going to be really just very cool overhaul that is coming in terms of your arrival process even to the resort itself. The overall palette shift of the resort, you will definitely see this. So it's going to be out with the 4-poster beds. It's going to be out with the deep mahoganies, and it's going to bring in those beautiful Caribbean pastels, clean lines, modernity, and the overall just enjoyment of light, tropical, modern feel that you'll see not just in the resort itself, but you'll experience that within the rooms as well. I'm a really big fan of the new Sandals 2.0 wood structure. It's not too light, it's not too dark, it's perfectly balanced, allowing you to feel like it is very upscale, very modern, yet at the same time very tropical, which is I think what most people desire when they're coming in 2026 or future years for their tropical vacation. So yes, the lounges, the lobbies, the social spaces, all of these are having a complete overhaul as we speak. But the one thing to not forget is that this resort is not going to lose its hook to its heritage, because this is a flagship resort. Sandals Montego Bay is a flagship resort of Sandals whenever it started more than 4 decades ago. And so this is where it all began. It has been overhauled multiple times since then, but what is coming now is going to be above and beyond anything that could have been imagined at that time when this started. So all of the Sandals 2.0 additions you see, you will also see very nice subtle nods to the traditional heritage of where this began throughout this new experience. So those are your important things to know about Sandals Montego Bay. And of course, any questions you have, that's hello@reliantdestinations.com. If you want to chat with someone who is literally across the road from these properties and knows it well, that's the way to go. Speaking of across the road, the sister resort, Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵, is our next one we're talking about. And as a reminder, there is what we call the stay and play concept between these two resorts, where there is a shuttle that goes regularly between Sandals Montego Bay and Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵. So whether it is an availability issue or a pricing issue or whatever it might be, you can have both experiences regardless of which one of those properties you stay at. That's always something which is a delight for guests, because you can wake up, see what your vibe is, see what your mood is for the day, and then go and experience it accordingly without being constrained to a singular property. So at Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵, you might remember a moment ago on the last resort, we talked about that Parasol Beach Club concept. It's also coming to Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵, but it's not going to be on the mainland. Yes, Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵 has its own private island, and of course there's a water taxi that runs back and forth all day long between the private island and the mainland. But just know that this beach club is going to be offering a great enhanced experience, because now when you are over on the islands, you're going to have so much more at your fingertips. Historically, there was a rural Thai restaurant that only served dinner there in the evening on the private island, but I always felt personally there was a little bit of a lack of food. There was always a great bar there, but when it comes to just trying to get snacks and things like that, I never felt like there was a great option besides the Jerk Shack there on the island. So now having the Parasol Beach Club, where you're going to have an expansive menu there of food and beverage available for the whole day, this is going to be a really nice addition to this private island. You might remember we spoke about Bloom that started at Sandals Dunn's River and is also coming to Sandals Montego Bay. Yes, it's also coming here at Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵. So with that stay and play, if you wake up and decide to spend your day at one or the other, just know that yes, you're going to have Bloom available at both. And I think that is the right choice, because if you're like me, Bloom is something that you sample, I'd say a little bit ashamed, more than one time in a day. You have an experience also called 𝗪𝗧, which is coming to Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵. 𝗪𝗧 is going to be very unique, and I would say in a sort of way, it's going to have some of the flair of boucan we spoke about previously, but this is going to be a very small tapas style dishes where you can sample a lot of different things, and you can be able to taste all the Caribbean flavors without feeling overwhelmed by a singular large dish. It's a way to be much more immersed into the authenticity of the local culinary offerings. So that is 𝗪𝗧, and that is coming exclusively to Sandals 𝗁𝗂𝐴𝐵. Just like Sandals Montego Bay, there's also a plan to bring a tesoro Italian restaurant over. I personally believe that there's a possibility that might change, and that one of the tesoros at one of those two resorts might change to a different concept. But at the moment, yes, there's a plan to have tesoro at both of those. And also similarly to how Sandals Montego Bay is getting scrimshaw for the delicious seafood, you're gonna have Strand Island Seafood, which is a brand new concept coming to Sandals Royal Caribbean. Again, fresh seafood, as fresh as it gets, and that's gonna be exclusive to this property. And just like I did for the last property, I'll give some assurances as well. So if you are someone that loves the Jerk Shack, don't worry, that's not going away. Bombay is also not going away. Bombay is Indian dining. Honestly, it's actually one of my favorites at these two properties. Bombay has the best butter chicken that I've ever had. So I go there exclusively for just multiple rounds of butter chicken. And so if you are someone that loves Indian food whatsoever, you definitely want to check out Bombay. And even if you're not someone who can deal with a high level of spice, they have a lot of different offerings there. And I've been there people that are very skeptical of this type of cuisine and still really enjoyed it. So I always recommend going to Bombay regardless of which one of those properties you're at. So I'm very happy personally that Bombay is staying. And yes, for pub lovers, Cricketer's Pub will remain, and of course we'll have that true pub atmosphere continuing going forward. So Cricketer's Pub, if you are someone that loves a good pub, whether it is the drink or also the food associated with the pub experience, both of those will be offered for Sandals Royal Caribbean. Beyond food and drink, there are 100 brand new reimagined suites that are coming fully contemporary for this resort. And this is gonna make up roughly, I think it's about 40% of the existing room blocks that have just been taken out and these being built to offer just completely new enhanced experiences. And so there were already some great experiences that were being redeveloped before the hurricane, and I was really excited about those. And so what this hurricane has allowed, it's allowed a development to happen just in a much more rampant manner, offering something much more abundant and much more vibrant than previously was going to be on the table. So for those of you who are interested in the rooms and suites, again, there's more information coming soon about those, but just know that over 100 of the rooms in this resort are going to be completely brand new. And even the older rooms, the oldest of the old in this resort, will not be old anymore. They'll all be brought up to a complete modern vibe. One of the things I'm most excited for at Sandals Royal Caribbean is the brand new infinity pool. It is a long infinity pool that stretches towards the sea. And so it also is going to have fantastic beach view, your ocean view from this pool. But this long infinity pool, it reminds me a little bit in a sort of way of the concept at Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but without the obstruction at the end of it, allowing it to have those cascading panoramic views. And so honestly, this might be actually the best pool in Jamaica when it's finished. And so I'm really excited to see how this comes to fruition there, but just know that that is coming. And if you are a pool lover and you like the kind of more modern side on pools, you're going to love what's happening here. With over-the-water bungalows, these are also off of the private island at Sandals Royal Caribbean, and these are having a complete overhaul. So some of you might know there's some bungalows and villas there. The villas are a little bit larger, and they also have things like an added hammock and have its own private plunge pool. And so with those, all of those are going to be having that complete Sandals 2.0 overhaul, bringing them to the most modern standard. And those will continue to be the only accommodation on the island. So while there will be amenities for everyone on the island, all the way ranging from a hidden clothing optional beach that's in the back of there, just in case you're interested, to the pool there, to the pool bar, the new Parasol Beach Club, the Jerk Shack, beautiful kind of relaxing hidden areas and hammocks and all of that. All of that's for everyone. But yes, you'll have the boardwalk that leads to those private over-the-water bungalows and villas there, and all of those will be completely overhauled. And so I'm very, very excited for that. This resort will also be getting a complete bar overhaul. So all the bars are going to be brought to a whole new upper level standard. And also you're going to see a little bit of kind of a pop-up rum club type of situation that's going to be happening at this resort also. And so for the bar lovers, you're going to have increased offerings with the beverage program. But in general, you're also going to have a much more enhanced and modern bar experience across the resort and on that private island also. So yes, that's that's what you want to know about Sandals 𝗁 Caribbean. So now we've covered Sandals Montego Bay and Sandals 𝗁 Caribbean, those two resorts that are in the same city, of which Reliant Destinations has our Jamaican operations team. Yes, Montego Bay. So of course, anything you want to know about these, definitely let us know. Those two properties, again, that's hello@reliantdestinations.com. We of course do offer that best value guarantee. Of course, I wanted to make sure everyone has that best service and expertise also, as we mentioned earlier. So if you want to have the on the ground insight, again, from someone who's literally across the road, just reach out to our team and we're always happy to help on that. But now it's time to go to the other side of the island. Yes, we're going to White House, Jamaica for Sandals South Coast. So Sandals South Coast is the largest of these three. And a fun fact for you about this is this resort, it was already having a lot of enhancements to it, but this has really pushed the ability to go ahead and just overhaul it in a much more progressive direction. So for that, we are excited. Although for me personally, it was unfortunate what happened here. I was here exactly 1 week before the hurricane hit at this resort, and I was filming a new resort tour. I filmed about half the rooms in there to bring them to you and show you. And we even filmed a whole bunch of advertisements for our new Reliant Pickleball company, of which we were going to host the world's largest pickleball retreat there at this resort. And we were excited about that. We dumped a ton of money and time into this advertising for this new experience. And then all of that became irrelevant overnight 1 week later. That being said, even though it came with some extreme pains for me personally on what happened to Sandals South Coast, you know, sometimes having a fresh canvas can help bring things forward, and that's what's happening in this instance. The Sandals South Coast is having some tremendous enhancements to it. It already had one of the largest numbers of amenities like food options compared to the other resorts on the island. And so what this has allowed things to be taken to a whole new level. The Sandals 2.0 concept was needed in some particular areas in this resort. And so now just the whole resort can have these touches going forward. So now let's talk about what those are specifically. The first one is a little bittersweet, and so this is the fact that Café de Paris is going bye-bye. So from a little bit of a sentimental standpoint, that's sad because this is something that I've seen for years and years and has always been a staple experience for your coffee and your snacks there. However, what is getting replaced by is even more exciting, and yes, that's Bloom. So Bloom, the same coffee shop experience that has amazing pastries and delightful coffee from, again, those Jamaica Blue Mountains. So we talked about that coming to the other two resorts. So yes, it's gonna be in all three of these resorts when they reopen. And so Bloom will be there, and I guarantee you that's going to be the most popular place in the resort. And so for those of you who do love Café de Paris, don't worry. I think you're gonna be pleased because it's gonna have everything that you had previously, but also so much more. Oh, and you might remember we talked about 𝗵𝘅 Chop House, which I was very happy is staying at Sandals Montego Bay. Historically, this was always my favorite restaurant across the whole brand. It was in only a very few number of the resorts like Grenada, over in Barbados. Montego Bay was really the only place that had this for Jamaica. And so now this is coming also to Sandals South Coast. I'm very glad it is. It's gonna offer steak and seafood. And there were some things that recently learned about really the best way to take 𝗵𝘅 to the next level at the new Beaches Turks and Caicos Resort, where there's finally a 𝗵𝘅 in the new Treasure Beach Village. And so let's just say that this 𝗵𝘅 coming to Sandals South Coast is going to be probably the best 𝗵𝘅 out there. So if you are someone that loves steak, particularly if you like dry aged steak, you definitely want to keep your eyes and ears peeled for what's happening at 𝗵𝘅 for Sandals South Coast. Right before the hurricane as well, there had been some recent additions brought to Sandals South Coast. For example, there was a Chicken and Dippers food truck, which was very popular. And that food truck, even though it got turned upside down during the hurricane, that food truck has been brought back, and it was definitely very, very popular. I loved it. Everyone that I watched that did try it also enjoyed it. So that will be there, continuing to serve all of those amazing grab-and-go bites for you. A lot of the other staples of the resort will be remaining also. So for sushi lovers, that will be staying. You'll have a sushi on the sand experience. Neptune's will remain. You'll have Bayside continuing. So you'll have a nice balance here of the existing concepts, again, with some touches put on those also, but also these brand new additions as well. So I think that's going to be a really great balance for what we see coming very soon. Just like the other two resorts we spoke about, Sandals South Coast is not getting neglected at all when it comes to the pool. The pools have a complete overhaul and will have those infinity edge experiences for the main pool, offering those great beach views. And this is something which I'm very excited about. The pool there was already great. It was always very large, but this is going to be a much more modern pool. And what they're doing around it as well, just in terms of things like the poolside cabanas and the loungers, all of these are going to be a lot more modern and completely refreshed, and I'm excited about that. One of the things that I filmed right before the hurricane, we did a lot of filming also in the very famous over-the-water villas, the 𝗏𝗏𝗄 villas there at Sandals South Coast. And these are something I expected with the Cat 5 nature of this hurricane. I expected these to be completely gone. Yet somehow they stood structurally sound completely during the hurricane. And so these are on the far side of the resort, and these go off of a boardwalk with a private security desk that leads out to them. And they go off to an amazing heart shape that is there at the end of this boardwalk with 12 oversized villas that are hanging off there. And these villas, they have those cascading panoramic views of the Caribbean Ocean there. And what I would say is, before the hurricane, these were fantastic. They were modern. You can see in this video how nice these were, but they're going to be even refreshed completely. So the interiors did get destroyed as the windows got blown out, of course, by this hurricane. So what you see here is going to be fairly similar because these had just been through a refresh, but you're going to also see a few more modern touches added to these. And you're also going to see some new amenities brought in as well as the Sandals 2.0 concept continues to develop. So for those who love the overwater experience, this will continue to exist at Sandals South Coast and will be in the most modern, heightened form yet. The over-the-water chapel will continue to remain supreme there with that glass floor pathway that goes to it. And honestly, it's a great place not just for ceremonies for those that are having weddings. And by the way, if you are already married, the vow renewal called the 𝗖𝗪𝗏 at Sandals is an amazing experience. So hit me up if you want some information about that. Again, that's hello@ReliantDestinations.com. But those are really, really great opportunities for those ceremonies, but also just to come and get some peace and quiet. So sometimes I'll go out to the chapel when it's not being used and just sit there, and you can hear the ocean lapping up against the pier on there, and you can of course just see that there's beautiful views coming out from the chapel. And so it's a great place also just for some relaxation and to get away from the hustle and bustle of the resort for a few minutes. So some of you might be aware there used to be a Dutch village, a French village, and an Italian village at Sandals South Coast, and those are the names of the three villages. Those about a year or so ago were changed in terms of what the actual villages were called. Those turned into the Silver Sun, the Long Beach, and the Starlight villages. And so that was part of the Sandals 2.0 changes that were coming into the resort. But now across these, you're going to have new room categories in these three new villages, and they really focus on bringing a new flair, a new ambiance, and a little bit of a different way there. And one of the things I love about this resort is the way that the buildings are situated. It means that just about all of the rooms and suites at this resort have some type of beachfront view. There are some exceptions, particularly the new rondables that are tucked away, but they have their own awesome amenities, and you're not missing out by those for sure. They're a great experience. But even the entry tier rooms at this property, most of them do have a beach view, which is very unique and something you don't see at most of the other resorts. Often the elevated views are reserved for that Club Sandals or the Butler tier, but at this property you get a lot of great views across all the room categories. So all the room categories are having the Sandals 2.0 touch, all the way from the absolute cheapest room all the way to those over-the-water villas we spoke about. Of course, that 2-mile beach there is not changing at all, and it's still going to be there, offering that fantastic view. I love the beach there at Sandals South Coast. I find it very peaceful, also a private beach, and so very secluded. You don't get bothered by a lot of beach vendors, and has very good security on this beach as well. But that beach is still going to be one of the longest stretches of beach of the Sandals and Beaches portfolio. And so if you are someone that loves a long stretch of beach, that's a great place to have it. And of course, while not missing out on having a very expansive resort in terms of the offering and amenities also. I think one of the best ways to end this video would be with a quote from Adam Stewart, the executive chairman of Sandals Resorts International. And this would be a quote about what is the perspective on the future of sandals and also what you do in such an opportunity like this. The quote's like this: "With our doors closed, we were given a unique opportunity that you almost never have in hospitality. A blank canvas. We shouldn't simply restore what was there, we should dream bigger." So we will end this video today with that quote from Adam Stewart, and that is the epitome of what's happening with these 3 properties, and not just these 3 properties, but also across the brand, all of the touches that are happening right now to bring everything to Sandals 2.0, and also the brand new properties being built as we speak, which we'll have plenty of other content about in the coming months. So thank you so much for viewing this video today. We appreciate you stopping by the Mr TraveLux YouTube channel. Please, of course, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. And of course, if we can be of any assistance whatsoever, whether you just booked, you're looking to book, you have no idea, wherever you are on this path, the spectrum of planning, that's hello@ReliantDestinations.com. Myself and my Caribbean-based team, it would be our true honor and a delight to help you take this vacation, whether it's to one of these properties or any other Sandals and Beaches resort. We want to make sure that your vacation brings memories that you will cherish for a lifetime. And with that, I'll leave you with a Jamaican phrase, soon come. We hope that you will join us in one of these amazing properties very soon. Take care, we'll see you back here on the channel next time.